Hey guys, it's Keith, aka Sebastian SB. I just want to make a quick video to thank you guys for our latest milestone. Well, I'm late now. So, I used to make these videos every 1,000 subscribers or so, and I meant to make a video for 10,000 subscribers. Right now I'm looking at a number that looks like about 11,600, which I'm totally blown away by. So, we've definitely had a lot of new people show up lately. Some of you for Darkest Dungeon, some of you for Dragon's Dogma, some of you for Firewatch, but a whole lot of you for The Witness. I just want to say thank you for all of your support, all the comments and the views and everything. Like, it really adds up and helps motivate the whole thing, because obviously you see how much content I put out every day. It takes work, and it's hard to do without motivation, and I have it right now. I've been on YouTube for like 4 years, and I've had the experience of going for years with basically zero feedback, like you're shouting into a void, so this is a very pleasant change of pace. Well, since so many of you are new right now, I wanted to just go ahead and introduce myself a bit. My name's Keith. I grew up in California. Well, I'm still in California. In high school, I studied German for a few years, and around that time in high school is when I made this YouTube account back in 2006. So that's the reason why the URL for this account is Sebastian SB, when my name is not that. We actually would address each other by German names while we're in that class. I answer this question a lot, but I figured I'd throw it in here too, just to try to inform another few hundred people, perhaps, if I'm lucky. And just for consistency's sake, I kept the same username as my URL for everything, because changing it from place to place would be confusing, so you just go to any of these websites /SebastianSB and you get my profile, be it on Patreon or Twitter or Twitch or YouTube or probably anything else I register for in the future for the sake of consistency. My channel says Keith Ballard in the actual bar right now because at some point Google Plus got integrated into YouTube and just would show that. And I never sought to change it because I'm like, alright, that's fine. I kind of like that, like, when you look at like Achievement Hunter or Game Grumps, that like those people are just known by their names instead of like made up internet names. So that's I like the idea of trying to entertain, just having people have both names in their heads if possible, instead of trying to exclusively be known by a name that I don't really identify as specifically. So it's like everyone calls me by my name, but there's my call sign that you can use to find me on every website. That's my logic, though, and it's probably a bad idea, but I'm sticking with it so far. I studied geology. I got a bachelor's degree, and I moved away from home a year ago to get my first job that I got as a result of that degree. Have not been having a great time with that job, and I'm hopefully planning on moving on in some capacity soon. But that's where I am right now, so as you might imagine, I keep very busy because I make hours of YouTube videos every single day and work a job, so I basically have 2 full-time jobs and marginal amounts of sanity left. Since a lot of you are brand new, I just wanted to give you guys a chance to ask me questions, so we'll go ahead and try to do another Q&A. I don't know if I'll do a giant Q&A video or a series of little individual viewer question videos or something, but if you have questions you want to ask me, go ahead and ask them in the comments, and I'll probably make a video this weekend, or start making videos this weekend, where I try to answer them, just to acquaint myself with so many of you that are new, because apparently about 2,000 of you just showed up over the last 30 days, which is about triple what's normal for me, which is exciting. So for those of you that are new around here, let's talk about what exactly this channel is. More or less, this is a more traditional Let's Play channel where I record myself playing games from front to back. I mostly started off playing a lot of Dark Souls games and stuff like that, so there's been a very heavy emphasis on Western-style RPGs, but I've been slowly branching out to strategy RPGs and to Japanese RPGs, and with the sudden branching path that happened when I first played Legend of Grimrock 2 on the channel, I've been kind of pursuing more and more puzzle games. Talos Principle, and now, of course, The Witness and Antechamber, as you guys know. And I want that to become the norm, so it can't always guarantee perfect consistency, but my plan is basically to have a time slot that is usually some kind of third-person RPG like Dark Souls or Dragon's Dogma, and another time slot that's always some kind of puzzle game, be it something like Antechamber or Talos Principle or The Witness, and the rest of the schedule is whatever happens to be coming out around the time, probably. That's my vague plan right now. But As a general rule, the way I handle my channel is I do full game playthroughs. I try to be relatively completionist, but not to the point of insanity necessarily. Like if I play a Dark Souls game, I want to fight every single boss, and if I play a game like The Witcher, I'll do as many side quests as I can, unless you hit the point where they stop being interesting or something like that. One of the things I pride myself on is the fact that I very consistently finish what I start, especially since I had the change in thumbnails design about 3 or 4 months ago at this point. I think I've basically completed every single series that I've started since then, with the exception, of course, of games I'm currently still playing through. Like I have a practically 100% success rate there, and I like the idea of doing that because so few YouTube channels do that. It's tough on the schedule because all these games add up, and some of these are like 120 episodes long, and trying to stick to games while also starting new games to remain competitive is quite a challenge. But I'm happy that I do that. I also try to give genuine responses to things. I like mad props to people like Markiplier who put on their crazy show, but that's never what I've wanted to do, is to try to overreact or mug for a camera or anything like that. So it's more subdued, and a lot of people seem to like that when they're watching these. I mean, of course you guys like it for the case of Witness in particular, where it'd be just deranged to be overreacting the way that some YouTubers do. But anyway, if you guys stick around, that's more or less what you can expect, is daily videos, several per day, of some mix of RPGs and puzzle games of various kinds. Usually whatever's brand new, while I try to stay relevant, but I'll also come to some some fan favorites along the way. And actually, I kind of want to segue into that. One of the top ways that I end up playing games that people want me to play is actually through my Patreon. And I want to tell you guys about this because I'm kind of pushing right now towards the idea of changing how my life works, basically. Wanderbot, you may know him from my series on Orcs Must Die, or Divinity Original Sin, or World of Warcraft, or so on, like a bunch of those co-op games. He's usually the other voice you hear. He and I have been discussing more and more the idea of like moving somewhere, getting like a 2-bedroom apartment, and basically living off of Let's Plays, because we both have these small-ish but growing channels. And basically, you guys can kind of help that happen if you choose to try to take part in that. We both have Patreon accounts, and so if you want to try to support what I'm doing here, you can pledge even a tiny amount to the Patreon account. The way that works is that around the beginning of every month, you get charged the amount of money that you pledged, and that comes to me. It pools all of your pledges together, and it basically helps supplement my income. And to give you a perspective of what that means, it's actually pretty huge, because YouTube ad revenue is basically garbage. The only way that you can make money off of it is by amassing an incredibly massive amount of people. But there are some smaller channels, like say people like Jordan Underneath, who have relatively small audiences, but can actually make a full-time living off of doing YouTube videos because they just have a very loyal following. And actually, I have been blessed so far with having a surprisingly loyal Patreon following that is in some ways already disproportionate to how big they tend to be for channels my size. But to put it into perspective, if you make a video and it gets 1,000 views on YouTube, there's a pretty good chance that you'll make about $1. It varies wildly based on who's paying for advertising that month, and for what percentage of the people watching your video are using ad blockers or watching on mobile or any platform that doesn't play ads and stuff like that. So it's always variable. But the general rule of thumb is about 1,000 views is often going to translate into $1 for the audience. And so that can be rough, because it's very difficult to get thousands and thousands and thousands of views. My income is growing to the point where I've actually had months lately where I could just barely pay my rent with my YouTube income alone if I wanted to. And that helps facilitate the idea of actually moving out and just doing this full-time, which, frankly, as you might imagine, working what's essentially 2 full-time jobs at the same time would be a much less stressful experience, having suddenly more free time, not only just for myself, but also to help me be more consistent with the channel. Because if I wasn't working two jobs, then doing my YouTube channel, there'd be less chance of like, oh look, XCOM disappeared for 5 days. Weird. It's like, oh yeah, because I can't find the time for everything, and the episodes take like an hour to record, and oh my god, and like I just trying to schedule the day-to-day can be a nightmare, working around the other work, basically. And so I'm getting to the point where I can just barely support rent with my YouTube revenue, but with the help of something like Patreon, I could potentially be able to support other things like food costs and internet bills, and then suddenly I'm autonomous and don't have to work 2 jobs and could become a full-time Let's Player, which is an absurd concept. And that was never the original goal, but it has kind of become this landmark to aim for, because at first this was just a hobby. But as I worked on this job for like last year, it's just felt like this depressing dead-end thing that sort of just sucks the life force out of me. Whereas the YouTube is also this thing that takes a ton of time and effort, but it feels like something that I'm growing and something I can be proud of and something that people actually like that I do. And so it's just kind of feels like a more rewarding direction for my path to go in, even if it's just for a few years or something. And so suddenly I am considering the idea of trying to make this my thing. And if you want to help that, any support would be greatly appreciated, because like I said, 1,000 views tends to make YouTubers like $1. So for the entire span of you liking a channel, the likelihood of you actually watching 1,000 videos of theirs is actually pretty low. So even if you pledge the incredibly negligible amount of money of like $1 per month to your favorite YouTube channels on their Patreon accounts, you're actually making them more money from that tiny, that little gesture than you would ever make by actually being a fan of theirs, because that's how weird and warped the balance is between, how do I put this? Like, it's like, it's crazy. Like, so I have about 11,500 subscribers. 11,600 right now, basically. And Patreon right now can make me about half as much money as all of those subscribers combined. And there's only 22 of them. Like, that number's insane. So, like, if there was 44 of them and they pledged an equal amount, then suddenly I'm making as much off of Patreon as I am from YouTube. That's very unlikely for reasons I'll get to later, but it's crazy. It's like, if you, like, this topic's super uncomfortable because it's basically like begging for money on the internet, and I don't want to do that, but if you watch my content for hours and hours every day, and you appreciate how much work I put into it, then you have the option to support. And there's actually benefits to doing that, which I'll get into now, this was a really bad segue, because I was talking about doing audience favorite Let's Play shows, and then didn't even explain why that's relevant. But for those of you that don't know, if you help me on Patreon, every single person who pledges on all of Patreon gets the chance to vote in the monthly poll that chooses the Patreon game of the month. We've had 4 Patreon Game of the Month so far, which have, 5 so far, yeah. Crash Bandicoot, Super Meat Boy, Far Cry 4, Undertale, and Antichamber is the newest one. Where I'm playing Antichamber right now specifically because you guys actually, well, some small subset of you guys actually chose that specific game for the monthly Let's Play. And the next month's actually coming up soon. This happens every single month. At the beginning of the month, a new poll goes out, you guys get to vote, and then I play that game. And I've been very consistent about it so far. Undertale's still flagging because I'm trying to do the second and third playthroughs of it, and it's just kind of going to happen in the background, but even that'll get done just like I promise it will. And so that's the way you can give me a little bit of support while simultaneously getting to actually impact the kind of content you get to see in the future, which I think is a pretty cool trade-off. And if you look at my Patreon, you'll see a few other tiers there, where a higher tier on there will actually let you, I think I call it the Super Supporter, for $15 a month. So like everyone who does $1 a month or more, it gets everything. They can just, they get to vote every month. Like, that's the base tier, and they get their name in the credits at the beginning of the videos. But if you're a Super Supporter for $15, you actually get to generate the list of games that get played every month. What that means is that every month I send out a form, basically. The people that are supporting on that tier or above get to suggest games just completely from scratch, no guidelines or anything, and then I get to play. I take that list of names and give it to the rest of the people on Patreon, who then vote for their favorites, and that's the game that gets played. So there's a smaller subsection that nominates games, and then everybody gets to vote on them. That's on that entire thing, and it's working. It's working really well so far. I think that system's actually really cool. and I don't think I've seen anyone else have it. And don't say Wanderbot because I gave him the idea. I think he has it right now too, but I made that one up myself, damn it. The next thing up is actually, if you're insane enough, and I appreciate if you are, but I don't exactly expect this of anybody. If you do pledge $25 a month, and some people do already, like multiple people already do, and I'm blown away by their support, you actually get to do a sponsored video, which means that once a month, you actually just get to say, hey, this game that you own, play this game for an hour, and I have a huge catalog of games from all the Steam sales I've seen over the years, and so that's why you see videos of me playing Undertale Red, or Crypt of the NECRODANCER, or Fallout 3, or other stuff like that, where you'll see me play 1 hour out of the blue of this one game, is because people like Shadow Scythe and Cena Peterson and Jesse Miller and others have basically just been like, here's a bunch of money because we really appreciate you, and I'd love it if you played this game, and that's exactly what happens there. And it's our sort of interesting little symbiotic thing we got going on here, where I'm playing what I want to play, but also have these occasional videos that are what certain fans want to see, and I'm really happy with how that works. So normally when I do these milestone videos, we used to always have this long thing where I would thank this huge list of people for their support, and I'm really sorry to say that I can't really do that properly anymore. There used to be a page on the community tab of YouTube where you could actually see who all of your top fans were, who like people that are watching your videos the most, and so on and so forth. And I loved that feature because it gave me the opportunity to see this data and break down. And it was cool because I could give shoutouts to all these people who were big followers but don't even necessarily comment, so I wouldn't have known they existed if they weren't being listed there. Unfortunately, that page is just gone now, which is really sad to me. So I don't want to try to make a list of thank yous of like, I'm afraid of just shouting out like 10 names or something, because I'm really, really bad at naming things on a spot and being satisfied with the list that I come up with, and I'll just be really frustrated with how many people I realize I forgot the moment I upload the video, and people are gonna feel left out if I mention these 20 people but they didn't make it in, even though they've been watching every video every day. So I just want to give the smallest little thank you to 2 specific people, and I'm sorry if you feel left out, but Shadow Scythe and Jesse Miller, you 2 people are insane, because not only last time this feature actually existed, you were the top 2 people on my entire list by a pretty wide margin of being people that consistently watch practically everything as far as the stats can tell, but also you've also been really huge supporters on Patreon since the moment I launched that entire account, basically. And so I'm always floored by both your loyal following and the actual support you're willing to give me, and I just thought that was worth recognizing. I think that's ultimately about all I wanted to say today, guys. Thanks for watching, like always. You don't I've made calls to action in this episode, but you don't have to do anything. You can ask me questions, or you can support my Patreon, and I'd be happy to hear from you in both of those ways, or just sit back and watch more videos every day, because they're going to keep coming to you. Free of charge. Thanks for watching like always, guys. I'll see you next time, and thank you so much for the support.